Hello, you welcome the our colleagues in the noble profession, just to be teachers on training. Of course, we welcome to this class, which is the Introduction to Teaching and Foundations of Education. In our last video, we discussed about the outlines we are going to course in this course. We are going to cover in this course, and we're able to tell you what we are to achieve at the end of the course. I will just try to repeat one or two things on what we are expected to achieve at the end of this course. And like I said, the first one is to be able to state the importance, rules of teaching as a profession. The second one is for you to be able to raise and judge some ethical issues in education. You should be able to list the intellectual and practical competency required by a teacher. As a teacher, there are some things they are supposed to see in you before you can be called a teacher. Another thing we are to pick as a teacher in this class is to be able to justify the need for education in the developing of a nation. There is a leader that talk about a teacher. Uh, Without a teacher, there is no nation, and that is why we have to look at the need for education in a development of a nation. So we also want to see that at the end of the course, we should be able to give an account of history of education from the ancient time to the present days modern education, especially in our home country, Nigeria. That is the historical of education before independence and after independence. We also present an overview of the national policy on education. We should be able to identify the stages of a child and adolescent development, like I said in the last video. Then we also highlight the historical and current development in philosophy of education, which are very germane and they are very, very important. Like I said, if you are joining the class for the first time, you can just try to drop a comment. If you have any question concerning the last class, you can drop a comment. Just go to the comment section and let us hear your view about those things that we outline as a course. But we want to pick the first outline and quickly discuss the first outline briefly, which is teaching. Of course, when you talk about teaching, is a universal art being performed by all and sundry across gender, age, formal and informal setting, professions, trades, and vocation. Of course, it's what every one of us do on daily basis, but there are ways we do it in a formal setting. And that is why we generalize it that teaching is a universal art being performed by all and sundry across genders, age, formal and informal setting, profession, trade, and vocation. When you go and learn at a vocational center now, or you go and learn something that has to do with from artisans, they will sit you down. They first of all showing you this is how to do this, this is how to do that, and it will become time when they see that you are already matured enough in that area, you have acquired the necessary knowledge. They will ask you to do something. At that process, when they were passing that into you, they were trying to teach you something. And that is what teaching is all about. In other words, it is all common affairs. So for this reason, teaching is considered as a non too serious business, that there is nothing special in being a teacher. However, I want you to know that you should take a careful look at teaching, suggest otherwise, that is above, there is a lot of misconception around it, that is not more than just having a message and passing the message across to others. But what involved in teaching is more than that. So on account of this, the reason of the majorities of the public individual is divided by different concepts that share same boundary with teaching. and such include instruction, indoctrination, training, imitation. Those are those things that run teaching as a profession. Someone is passing an instruction. Maybe you want to go and learn fashion designing and you go to that place for the first time. The instructor there will tell you some things to do. You can't just go there for the first day and you start cutting clothes. You have to be instructed. They have to tell you what and what you need to do as an apprentice. Oh, if you want to cut a cloth of a man, this is the dimension you use. You have to take a measurement first. You have to do this. So at that period, that person, the instructor there is trying to teach you something which you are expected to carry out once you master what the instructor is trying to teach you. And that is why I said it is beyond just ordinary, a not too serious business that people count it. People think it's a matter of just, you can just pick up a chalk and started doing something called teaching. So let's look at it in a proper way. Like I said, that teaching is art. It is a systematic process by which a teacher guides and facilitates the learners in acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, belief, and attitude. Teaching is art. It is a systematic process by which a teacher guides and facilitates the learners in acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and attitude. Essentially, the definition I'm giving you now suggests that teaching is a rigorous, deliberate, conscious exercise, contrary to the general belief of people that it is an informal, it is a non too serious business. So teaching is actually is an art. It is a systematic process by which a teacher guides, facilitates the learners in acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and attitude. So it is a process. It's beyond not too serious business. It is something you have to be what? Master before you can do the process of what? Of teaching. So teaching involves a number systematic steps. There are a lot of steps that involve in teaching. Like I said, even those people that train people in the areas of vocational training, as we said earlier, they have to become a master before they can start training others, or before they can start telling others what to do to become someone like them. So likewise, the teaching involves a number of systematic steps. And the first one is establishing the entry behaviors of the learner. Establishing the entry behaviors of the learner. You want to teach, you have to tell the student or remind them something that is similar to what you want to teach them. For instance, now, if I want to teach children family, I have to first of all ask them, how many are you in your family? Some of them will tell me, hey, we are 4. Or I can say, how many of you live in your house? And they say, I live with my dad and my mom and my siblings. At that moment, you are trying to establish the entry behaviors of the learner. Or let's say in the areas of mathematics, you want to teach student fraction, and you ask them that, how many of you have shared orange with your siblings before? Some of them will raise their hand. Oh, there was a day we cut an orange into 3. and I share it with my siblings, and it's okay, how many did you take? It can say, okay, I'm the youngest among them. They gave me one. And from there, you started telling them that, well, do you know you suck the orange, the one portion out of the 3 portion that we divided. So at that moment, when you now come into the class and telling them something that has to do with fraction, you have actually established the entry behaviors of the learner. Another step is that preparing and providing the learning materials. Preparing and providing the learning materials. There are some materials that has to be available that will support your teaching as a teacher. For instance, now, maybe I want to take that fraction as well. I can come into the class, that same orange that I asked the student, that how many of you have shared orange with your student, with your siblings, or how many of you have shared things with your siblings, and they started mentioning countless of things they've shared with their siblings. They can talk about, oh, there was a day we shared bread, there was a day we shared biscuit, there was a day we shared this and that. And for you, those are those things they did at their own end, and you are not aware. But this time around, you want to take such, you are trying to drive them into the subject or into the topic. You have to come into the class with something that will open the eyes or the mind of the learner, which we call the learning materials. So that is number 2. So the first one is establishing the entry behaviors of the learner. Number 2, preparing and providing the learner's material. Number 3 is guiding the learner's activities. Guiding the learner's activities. You have to come up with some activities. After I talk about the entry behavior, you have already brought the students into the class, talking about something they have learned in the past, or they have seen in the past, which is relevant to what you want to teach them at that present moment. And after you have done with that, you have to bring a physical material to support what you want to teach. So it is not in all cases, you have to tell them to imagine. So you have to bring something similar, either in picture or something handy they can see. Why the third one is guiding the learner's activity. So you have to guide them activity. So now we want to talk about fraction. You have seen that now. Probably the biscuit, you brought a biscuit into the class. A biscuit inside a pack that has 10 pieces. I say, okay, you take 3, you take 2, you take 4, you take 1. Those that took 1, they are taking 1 out of 10 biscuits. Those that took 4, they are taking 4 out of 10 biscuits. Those are the guiding the learner's activity. Then the fourth one is evaluating the learner's outcome. After you have done the activities with them and you have done everything you are doing, you have to evaluate the learning outcome. At the end of that, your class, did you really teach or not? You want to evaluate them. You want to know if they really understand what you have taught them or not. And that is evaluating the learner's outcome. And the fifth one is using feedback from the evaluation. So from what you have test them now to know whether they are strong, they are strength in that topic you taught them, or they are weak in that topic you taught them. Your feedback, you are using that process to also get the feedback. So by implication, teaching involves 3 components. There are 3 persons involved. There are 3 things involved in teaching. The first one is you, the teacher. As I'm talking to you now, I am a teacher here. You listening to me, you are my learner. And the content that I'm using to dish out this information to you, or what I'm using to give you this information, is the content. So that is where we are going to stop this class today. When in our next video, we'll also be talking about teaching as a process of communication. So thank you. If you are joining for the first time, like I said, you can try to like this video, you can subscribe, you can also hit the notification button to get notification when else we come up with a video that has to do with teaching as a profession. Thank you.